Okay.
Of tonight, of not putting things off,
Right.
procrastination, Polly. I know this is like a topic that you were like passionate about and have a ton of
I
information about. So
am.
I'm also like eager to be like, oh, what else can I like scoop up from this?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. In my work with people, I just find that this ends up showing up sort of like pretty much for everybody in some kind of way. Um, and it's a wonderful opportunity because I think the work in and of itself to overcome procrastination actually ends up dovetailing into like other places in our life that can be really lovely.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, a lot of the work, and of course I had the book in my backpack and then I left the book somewhere, but Neil, a lot of the uh, practices come from Neil Fiore's The Now Habit, which just has been timeless in helping folks overcome procrastination. So pulling from that, and that, Tracy, big reveal. Procrastination is not because you're lazy. It's not. You're not a lazy person.
Right. Spoiler, I knew
Yes.
that. I
You
knew
did.
that. I knew
Okay.
that part. I knew that part. Yeah. No,
Okay.
I always feel, I mean, I'm always looking at things that are like underlying whatever.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing is like people, especially teens, like will get labeled lazy. And then we
Yes.
stop like looking at like what's actually going on here. And I
Yes.
think just like reframing that, right? Because like, I don't know, I feel like even if you're lazy, right? Like your body may just need rest too. And that's something
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
as well, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So, some of these strategies that I kind of want to just like throw at you because I think you know more about these specific strategies. I like will
Yeah.
do like offshoot things of
Yeah.
these types of things, but I think these are really specifically helpful because of that book that you mentioned before.
Yeah.
But the unschedule, can you talk a little bit about the unschedule?
I
Because
sure
I think it's
can.
great.
And you know what I want to talk about before we get to that?
Yeah, yeah, I do.
Because I love like that's like dessert because it's so cool. Um, but we'll get to that particular part
Hmm.
and of course it was on my notes to talk about next, so I apologize for that. Um, um, yeah, that actually, so procrastination can actually be a coping strategy. And one of the things that I really appreciate about like, and as a matter of fact, I mean, when we think about puzzling out or how we're going to approach or attack a project, a lot of times we actually just need a little bit of time for our brains to make sense of how to approach that. So
Hmm.
I think in some ways honoring that there is, you know what, there's some kind of reason that I am not taking this approach. How can I sort of like that I'm not doing the thing? How can I kindly, investigate that a little bit? What might be
Hmm.
happening for um, not digging into that pile of mail or not going down to the basement to paint or whatever that
Hmm.
particular thing is that just honoring that you know
Yeah.
there's something coming up that wants to be heard about it.
Yeah. I love that. It
um
like reminds me a lot of like parts work that I'll do, of like there's a part of
yes.
you that doesn't want to go down and do the thing, right?
No.
And what's the function of that part? What is that part trying to do? How is it trying to help you and serve you?
Yes.
Um, and
Yes.
just like being able to kind of view it in that like compassionate lens, which I think is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And some of those things, when we do a little bit of that uncovering, can be like, um I'm not looking forward to coming across that painful letter in that particular stack that I know is there. So it can be a little bit avoiding pain,
Hmm.
which, as human beings, we generally like to avoid pain and move towards pleasure. And just honoring that might be a part of the reason, or even like, another way that we can really get in our own way is like even with self-talk. So as we approach a project, I mean, naturally we're going to kind of come across like, oh, I wonder how I should tackle this or handle this.
Hmm.
And if some of those answers are, you know what, too, you can't do this, like you're too um, lazy, we'll use that word, or you aren't smart enough to be able to tackle this, like those things that are not true, that are not true can often be what come up. Or another thing that just, now this is just sort of a cultural thing, is that like we're in a little bit of, we have a go, go, go culture of like sort of nonstop, and there's not, have you been there? You know what I mean? A little yang
A
to
bit.
the in.
A
Yes.
smidgen. A
Yes.
smidgen, I
Yes.
do.
It's like drive, drive, drive. And
Yeah.
we don't necessarily honor or take time for rest in a way that is like, hey, you know what? Right now, I'm actually tired. It's not in my bandwidth. It's not in my like biorhythms to
Hmm.
at noon tackle a super hard email. I'd rather take a nap. Just
Yes.
sort of like honoring, you know, where we're at any given time. So a little bit of those like compassionate questions. Why might I not be
Yes.
approaching this? Can be
Huge.
a window into it.
Totally. Totally.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's great. I do want to dig into some of these strategies, these
Yes.
like quote
Strategy.
unquote
Here we go.
strategies, because I
Yes.
think they are super valuable. And like the number of times that like I'll have conversations with college students or high schoolers that are like navigating some of these things when it comes to tasks and
Yeah.
like, especially like high school homework too, because I feel like it's like half the classes like you don't need to be like you don't want to be taking for like the longevity of like I don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And like I think a lot of the times we can like berate ourselves, like you're talking about, like, oh, I'm like unmotivated or I'm lazy or I'm distracted, blah blah blah, as opposed to like this is just not something I'm interested in, right?
Yeah.
Um, so the other thing to kind of know is, how are these strategies that is are being recommended? How can that be helpful, or what are some of the strategies?
Yeah, for sure. Um, um, Tantamount in it all is recognizing that you have a choice.
Hmm.
You know, I can finish that paper on Georgia O'Keeffe, or I cannot, and I can, and there are consequences on other side of it.
Hmm.
And I bring up Georgia O'Keeffe paper because that's one that I did not ever finish in high school. So,
Perfect.
it's
Yeah.
real. It's real. Um, but yeah, like recognizing the consequences of like, okay, if I go ahead and endeavor, write this paper, do this project that I would like to do, the consequences will be like that I potentially get to finish. If I don't, then sort of like, there might be a different consequence and that there's no judgment on the consequences also. It's really
Hmm.
like we get to choose. We get to
Hmm.
choose. So just remembering that there's agency.
Hmm.
So that is like sort of paramount and number one. I have a choice.
Hmm.
And within that choice, like I can choose to start.
Right.
And
Totally.
starting even just 30 minutes, which is, I mean, even we can, that particular mind frame of I'm just starting
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
lowering the stakes on, because sometimes we look at a long project and it's like this is going to be super overwhelming to the point where it elicits anxiety as
Yeah.
we think about it, but like I'm just going to start for 30 minutes
Yeah. Yeah. I'll
can
have
be
people even
another.
just do 5 minutes, right? Like you're
Yes.
gonna like do this thing
Start
for five
5.
minutes and that's it,
Yes.
right? Or I'll
Yes.
have people like like the thing that keeps coming up for me is like homework because I feel like I just have had these conversations recently, right?
Yes.
But like, okay, do all the easy things first, like get some momentum
Mm-hmm.
going with things, to try
Yes.
and find and foster some of that motivation.
Yeah, I
And
love
if
that.
if your timer goes off after 5 minutes and you're done, then be done. Then
Right.
stop.
Then stop. Yes,
Hmm.
exactly. And
Yeah.
Neil Fiore talks about that as well.
Yeah.
And then the other sort of, okay, so the coup de grace, not necessarily coup de grace, but kind of this, and I think this is so, I think this is really revolutionary because we are in such a society of drive and drive and drive. And we look at our calendars and they're often filled with like work. I got to put my work thing down. I got to put my work thing down. And what is not down is like time for sitting on the
Hmm.
couch for 30 minutes looking out the window. I
Hmm.
mean, that is of value. Or time to just color, or time to do like nothing.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that because a lot of times when we feel that particular like um this task is sort of like swallowing me,
Hmm.
this is the answer to that, is like actually I took my space.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get to take my space, then there sort of becomes room a little bit for like,
Right.
oh, and what else is possible? So scheduling in the things that we love, scheduling in that like downtime, like making
Yes.
that the schedule.
Yeah. I think one of the
Yeah.
biggest things since becoming a parent myself,
Mm,
I have done is like recognizing the need to prioritize those things. You know,
yes.
how important it is for me to have a night to all I'm doing tonight is reading my book that has nothing to do with anything. It's just a crappy murder mystery, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Or like I need a night by myself where I'm just like playing a video game, which like is very like not my personality, but like I could totally get into it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's all I'm doing. And instead of berating myself of like, "Oh, I'm just lazy, or there's so many things I could be doing with this free time or this space that I have, it's like, this is actually recharging me so that I can show up so much better in my work. I can show up so much better with my family.
Yeah.
And it's important. Like, there's a huge value within me, trying to get enough dream light in this stupid video game that my friend got me hooked on, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
value in
Yeah.
that, even though society says, like, oh, well, you play video games in your mom's basement or whatever,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just like that mind shift into like scheduling out time and carving out
Absolutely.
time for nothing.
Yes. For nothing.
And then saying to yourself, there's nothing I need to be doing right now.
Yeah, that can be totally guilt-free. Sitting and
Yep.
being, like that's actually what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm
Totally.
supposed to be sitting and reading and not working
Totally.
right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's kind of like broad strokes, a lot of the work that I do with folks as it relates to procrastination.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I
Yeah.
think this is good. This is
Yeah.
like a good like hit it and quit it. Like here's the stuff.
Yeah, right? Wasn't
You
it?
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
I dig it. Look
Super
at us
good.
go, Polly. We
Super
like
good.
got online right away.
We
We got
did.
into it.
Yes. I
Boom.
know. That was fast. That
That
was
was good.
fast.
That was
Yeah.
good. Okay.
I'm
So
impressed. Yes,
caveat that does not replace your own
it doesn't.
individual therapy. If something doesn't fit for
No.
you here, please leave it. It is not for you then. If there's something that is helpful, feel free to take that. Tell your friends. It's all great, right?
Yeah. Yep. Got it.
Sweet. So we'll do this
Cool.
again next week
Next
to talk
week.
trauma stuff.
Yay.
Ah, I get excited.
Yay.
I get excited.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but
Love
again, if
it.
you're joining late, we still have spots for flood relief victims. Next week, we're talking about trauma therapy with a weird, like, instead of every 2 weeks, it's gonna be
Yep.
weekly for right now. Talking trauma stuff in this live series here on Facebook. Polly has a workshop in November to like help reset your nervous system. Oh,
Yes.
it's gonna be great.
Ooh, it's gonna be
And
great.
check out the glow night for Park Pals. Polly will
Yeah.
be there, so you can do a little meet and greet if you want. But I think it'll
Yeah.
be just be a fun night for families anyway. So
Absolutely. I think so too.
that's what
So
we got.
cool. All right. Nice job.
We
Hooray.
rocked it.
We
Awesome.
rocked
Cool.
it.
Well, we'll see you
Okay.
next week.
Yep. Happy Tuesday night, everybody.
Rock and roll.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.